Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video. So today I'm going to be going through my April reads, but April was actually a pretty slow reading month for me. I actually only read a total of 4 books. Don't know why I'm holding up this many hands because we only read 4, which is a lot less than I normally would read. I don't know what I actually average at. I think I average at about 6 to 8 books, I would say, or like 5 to 8 books per month. And I don't know what happened in April. I feel like I'm like just starting to come out of a book slump. I do feel like in March I was kind of in a book slump, so this is me like starting to come out of it or trying to come out of it. So I do apologise that there are not as many books as usual. Like I said, I only have 4, 2 of which were physical books, 1 was on my Kindle and 1 was an audiobook. But I did have a good reading month in the sense that I really enjoyed the books that I read. Like, it was a strong reading month in terms of the books, and it was the month of anticipated releases. So let's just get into it. Starting off with the first book that I read, that was Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is number 1, the start of a new series, the Rose Hill series. Elsie Silver, if you don't know, is the author of the Chestnut Spring series, which is a cowboy romance. And I really love her writing style. So when I knew that we were getting this book and this new series, I was all over it. So Wild Love actually follows Willa, who is a female main character in the Chestnut Spring series, my favourite female main character from that series. It follows Willa's brother Ford. We kind of meet him a little bit in some of the Chestnut Spring series books. We see glimpses of him in Willa's book, but we actually meet him the most in last book in the Chestnut Spring series. That's when we kind of get a little bit of an introduction on him, obviously to set up for this new series. So Wild Love follows Ford and Rosie. So this is single dad, brother's best friend, childhood frenemies to lovers. He is literally a billionaire. Like, I ate this up so hard. So it basically follows Ford and Rosie. Ford is Rosie's brother's best friend. Rosie has like a big city job. She moved away from the ranch where like her family live and work. Moved to the big city, had a job, but basically she ends up losing that job and has to kind of go back home. She has a boyfriend. She is like on the rocks a little bit with a boyfriend. It's kind of like they are in a relationship, but neither of them really want to be in it, but they're kind of like friends, but they don't want to end it type vibe. So she goes back home, and when she gets there, Ford is there. He has just started up a new business. Like I said, he is a billionaire. He kind of works in the music industry. Like, he owns a club, he had some sort of streaming platform, and now he's opening up a recording studio. So he basically offers Rosie a job as like his PA, I guess. And the lines are kind of like strictly, he's trying to keep things strictly professional. It's his brother's best friend. No, it's his best friend's little sister, sorry. But there's kind of like this tension between them. And then he also then unknowingly, there's like a single dad trope. He becomes a dad, like, or some kid. There's like a, I don't want to say too much, but basically a child appears, but it's like a whole child, not like a baby. Like, it's not like an accidental pregnancy. This kid just pretty much appears on his doorstep. That was the worst explanation of a book I've ever heard in my life, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this one. I am very excited to see more about this series. I feel like they were setting up other characters in this book as well. We've got like the setting. I feel like it's not a cowboy romance, which is what I was expecting. I think I literally said though, like before I went into it, I was like, oh, it's not really giving me cowboy, like Ford is not giving me cowboy vibes. So I don't know if the girl is going to bring like the cowgirl vibes. She also did not bring the cowgirl vibes. It's just set on like a ranch. But I feel like the other ones will bring more of the cowboy vibes, but I still enjoyed it. Like I said, it's single dad, it's set on a ranch, it's a small town, childhood pining to adults in love. I will eat up every single time. I really enjoyed it. I gave it like a 4.25 purely because I am not a fan of the whole somebody's in a relationship purely for it to be like a barrier and to block the couple ending up together, especially when in this book I feel like the relationship that Rosie was in was literally pointless. Like, it didn't really offer anything to the story apart from being like oh, I have a boyfriend, and then they broke up anyway. So like, I don't love that, and I also don't love cheating, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, anything like that, don't love. So that is why it was not higher for me. That's why I've like capped it at 4.25, but I did still really enjoy it. Then I went on to Tame 7 by Chloe Walsh. This is the 5th book in the Boys of Tommen series, which, if you don't know, this is my favourite series ever. If you do know, if you have heard me talk about it, I'm so sorry, prepare yourself because I'm about to talk about it again. The Boys of Tommen series is basically a series set in Cork in Ireland. It follows an interlinking friendship circle that all go to Tommen College. It centres a lot around rugby. The boys all play on the rugby team, and I don't know how to explain it other than it is like an interlinking friendship circle. So the first 2 books we have Johnny and Shannon. Johnny is this big rugby star. Shannon was from the sort of like community school, but she ends up moving to Tommen. She has like a troubled home life and a troubled background and upbringing and everything. They meet and I love them so much. Then book number 3 and 4, so the second like installment in the series, that's my dog, they follow Joey, who I love so much. You guys will know that already. Joey is Shannon's brother. We see little snippets of him in Shannon's books, but getting to Joey's books is a whole complete different level. So we see Joey and his girlfriend Aoife. We know of them in Shannon's books, like we know that they're together. We know that Joey is like this fierce protector and that he literally deserves the world. Like, not up for discussion. Joy Lynch, I will defend Joy Lynch till the day I die. With my last dying breath, it will be to defend Joy Lynch. If he has one defender, it's me. If Joy Lynch has no defenders, I'm dead. Anyway, so books 3 and 4 follow Joey. And then we go on to Tame 7, the newest book, which follows Claire and Gibbsy. So we see a lot of Claire and Gibbsy in all of the books, to be honest, but mainly obviously in Johnny and Shannon's, because Claire is best friends with Shannon and Gibbsy is best friends with Johnny. So this was very highly anticipated. Honestly, for everybody that loves the Boys of Tommen series, whether you are a Johnny girl or a Joey girl, everybody has been waiting for this book since the first book came out. Even if you haven't read the series, I feel like you will have known that this was coming out and you will have known that this was on everybody's radar. I have a lot to say about this book. Do I? I actually don't know if I do have a lot to say. I think I'm lying. I have many thoughts, but I don't know how to articulate them, and I am a little bit... Okay, let me think before I speak. That would be a great idea. I want to preface this by saying that I love this series and these characters and this universe more than anything. I could literally cry thinking about them. Everybody knows I get so emotionally attached and so emotionally invested in a book series. If it's found family, if they are all in the same friendship circle, they're all connected somehow, if it has like emotional depth to it, I will cry. Like, and I love them and I'll get invested every single time. Point proven. So I went into this pretty much knowing that no matter what happened in this book, no matter how things panned out, she could kill off every single character and I'll probably still rate it at 5 stars. Please don't do that though, Chloe Walsh, please. But I just love them. Like, literally anything involving this, I could get a single crumb and it would be a 5 star. But I will say this was my least favourite out of the series up to now. I feel like I've just talked utter shit for the last however many minutes. I have not even spoke about this book. Going back to this, it follows Claire and Gibbsy. We see Claire and Gibbsy a lot throughout the other books. They have such a unique dynamic. They are like best friends, but they will openly say that they love each other, that like they are in love with each other, that they want to be together. Like, Gibbsy will literally ask Claire to sleep with him with every second that he gets. And Claire kind of like in the other books passes it off. She's like, oh, but it's all about the chase for him. Like, if he gets it, he's not gonna like me anymore. And she is like in love with him. Like, this is common knowledge before we even got to this book. She is like the sunshine girl. He is the class clown. They are just together. They are perfect. Like, I love them so much. But I felt like this book did not do them justice. Like, I felt like this book was almost a disservice to Claire and Gibbsy, which really upsets me to say. and I don't want to say I'm really disappointed, because I still absolutely love this book. I just wished that I could have had more for them, if that makes sense, because this is also the only book that they are getting, whereas Johnny and Shannon got 2 books, Joy and Eva got 2 books. Claire and Gibbsy are only getting this one singular book, and I feel like if they would have had 2 books, it kind of would have done them more justice. Because honestly, reading this book, I was just a little bit, I will say, number one, like I said, their dynamic is so unique. Like, they are pretty much a couple, but they just don't sleep together. So to me, I was a little bit confused on like why they literally just wouldn't get together, like just kiss. So already I was a little bit like, this is throwing me off, because I've never read a book that had that dynamic. And also, I will say, when you are going into a book, especially in a series where you have such high hopes and such high expectations, because you've already seen the characters, you see them interact a lot, you can kind of like put their story together yourself already. So then when you actually get to it, it's not going to match up to what you have in your head, which is obviously my fault. Like, do you know what I mean? Are we following here? I don't know if I'm actually having a single cohesive thought here, but I just felt like it was a little bit rushed, and I felt like there was a lot of focusing on other people that were not Claire and Gibbsy, which I do understand, because you're trying to like set up the next book, and we obviously got bits of Claire and Gibbsy in the other books, but I felt like we didn't really get that much of the other characters, apart from like one particular character, which I do not like, and I will not take any defense for her, because trash. But I don't know, I really don't know how to like word how I feel about this book. I will say that Gibbsy deserves the world. Please check the trigger warnings before you go into this book, or before you read any of the books in this series. But it is a very emotional and very deep series. It talks on a whole lot of very traumatic and deep topics, so I would definitely check what those are before you go into it. But I feel like, aside from that plot, which obviously is very, very relevant, like to the characters, to the story, I feel like aside from that though, we didn't get a lot. Like, there was little to no plot, whereas even in the other books, I feel like you have, with Shannon, you have the main storyline, and with Joey, you have his main storyline as well. But that was like continuous throughout the whole book, whereas with this one, it felt like you only got the trauma like this far into the book, and then it was kind of like not sprung on you, because you were getting hints at it, but it was like this thing that was kind of like built up. You didn't get it until right at the very end. I don't know how to word what I'm feeling and what I'm saying here. I still absolutely love this book, and I still loved them as a couple. I just kind of wish that their story would have been done a little bit better. I feel like they did not get the story that they deserved, which maybe is a bold statement, but I just don't think that this book did them and the snippets that we saw of them justice, in my opinion. And I'm not quite sure how the books going forward are going to go on, like, because of how this one ended and because of a certain character. I don't really know how things are going to go. So I'm saying all of this, I literally still rated this a 5-star. I don't think it actually is a 5-star read. It's kind of like an honorary 5-star, because of how much I love this series and how much I love Claire and Gibbsy as characters. But if I actually read this on its own, or if I read this not loving the characters as much, I know that it would not be a 5-star. It probably in reality is like a 4-star, a 4.25, 4.5. It was not quite at 5-star level, whereas every other single book in this series is a 5-star for me. But I don't know, I love them anyways, and I will defend these characters with my life. But I just felt like their book could have been better, which is kind of sad to say. And then the last physical book that I read is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Guys, I fucking loved this book so much. Abby Jimenez can do absolutely no wrong in my eyes. Like, every single book that I've read from her, slayed. Like, I have loved it so much. I have only read Part of Your World and Yours Truly, and then now this one. But I think Part of Your World I rated like a 4.5. Yours truly I rated a 5-star, and I also rated this one a 5-star. Do not be fooled by this cover thinking that it's going to be a cutesy little light-hearted romance read, because Abby Jimenez does this thing where you will think that you're going in and getting a cute little fluffy romance, and she will throw in some deep traumatic topic and you're like, well shit, guess I'm crying now. But this book basically follows Justin and Emma. They are both cursed. They both have this curse where everybody that they date, they end up breaking up, and when they break up, the person that they've been dating goes on to find their soulmate. Justin kind of talks about this curse on a Reddit thread. Emma sees the Reddit thread and she's like, holy shit, somebody has the same curse as me. She sends him a message like joking about it, and they basically plan to date each other. They're going to fake date to try and break the curse. That is how it all starts. Obviously it goes so much deeper and so much further than that. Like, it's supposed to be a quick fling just for the summer. But Emma has issues with her parents. She has, honestly, a lot of trauma that she needs to deal with. And Justin also has his own thing going on in his life with his mum and his siblings. And yeah, I just absolutely loved this so much. Her writing style is just stunning. Like, it is so easy to read. There was not a single point in this book where I was bored, where I lost interest, where I was like waiting for the next plot line to happen. Like, I ate it up. Like, I honestly love this so much. I love them as a couple so much more than I thought I was going to, and I cannot wait to read the rest of her books because I do still have a few that I need to read. I don't think that they are like as popular and as highly rated as Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and now this one, but I just want to read a few more of her books. Again, I would check the trigger warnings for this because she does touch on like more deeper topics and traumatic topics. Like, there's a lot of trauma here, but I feel like she does it in a way where it's like a focal point to the story, but I feel like it does go in depth, but I mean, like, it's not done in a way that I think is like over the top or too, I don't want to say traumatizing. I'm not like wording this very well. I would check the trigger warnings, but I feel like she does it in a way where she can bring it up and it's like still kind of lighthearted, but you're still talking on topics that are very relevant and pretty deep. You know, I'm not doing any service to these books. I have an absolute brain fog going on today, so I do apologise, but loved it. 5 stars. And then the last book that I read is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I actually listened to this on audiobook. So Holly Jackson is the author of the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, which is like a YA thriller trilogy, and The Reappearance of Rachel Price is her new book. It is her new YA thriller. So this one basically follows our main character Belle, and her mother went missing when she was like 2 years old, I think. She was in the back of the car, her mum went missing, left the car open, like nowhere to be seen. She constantly lives her life in the shadow of her mum's disappearance. She can never get answers, it's unsolved. So they start a documentary, or she stars in a documentary that is basically like a true crime kind of documentary showcasing her mother's disappearance. But then things take a turn because her mum actually reappears, hence The Reappearance of Rachel Price. So she turns up whilst they are filming a documentary on her disappearance, and it kind of leaves Belle with more questions than answers. She still wants to know what happened to her mum, why she left, what's going on, where she's been this whole time. She's been missing for 16 years, by the way, and I just really enjoyed it, honestly. I felt like Holly Jackson really just knows how to write a YA thriller. Like, I find YA thrillers, sometimes it can be like almost a little bit gimmicky and a little bit, I don't want to say childish, but like kind of childish. Like, they can be a little bit cringe, but for me, Holly Jackson does it perfectly. Like, they are so entertaining without being too kiddie-ish, and I'm always just so gripped. I will say that I didn't love this one as much as the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, but I did still thoroughly enjoyed it. It just felt like the ending was a little bit unbelievable for me, and like the first plot twist really threw me. Like, I did not expect that at all, but then the one that came after that, I kind of like lost interest a little bit because it was just so far-fetched. And yes, I know it's a book, it's literally words on a page, they're not going to be like the most realistic, especially thrillers, but for me I feel like my favourite kind of thrillers are the ones that almost like could be real. So it kind of did lose me a little bit towards the end and with like the final few plot twists. However, I did still really enjoy it and I really liked listening to it on an audiobook. So I feel like I can't comment on what the physical book is like because I've not read it, but the audiobook I did really enjoy. I felt like it was done very well as an audiobook. I think I rated this one like a 4 stars, a 4.25, somewhere around there, a good solid read. But that is everything. Those are all of the books that I read this month. All of the books, it was literally 4. I am hoping for a little bit of a better May. I am actually in the middle of Funny Story by Emily Henry. I was hoping that that book would also be in this video. Sadly it is not, but hopefully it'll be in my May wrap up. I do actually have a vlog coming up of me reading these books, or reading a few of them at least. So stay tuned for that one as well. As always, make sure you are following my Goodreads and my book Insta so you can stay more up to date on everything bookish. I will have them here and I will also link them down below. But thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.